What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in and checking out another podcast. It's been a minute with the pandemic and COVID and everything else going on. But I have to tell you, I'm very, very excited. A lot of you who've been watching over the years know that I'm a basketballer, right? A lot of what I do is basketball, right? So we've had JR, we've had Kyle Anderson, Bobby Hurley Sr., Jack Ford, Joe Scott, John Crowder. You just go right down the line. Anthony Wright most recently. You just keep going down. Jason Thompson, basketball. And everybody I've talked to so far has been somebody I've known personally, either coached, played against on any level, whether it be high school, college, NBA. It's all been, that's my world, that's my life, and a lot of people who know me know that. This dude it's such a blessing because I reached out to guys. It's just all love in the room tonight. Supporters of Los Caidos from the very go. Essex Cigar with Jim and Jim here in Belleville said, yeah, we're on it. We got you. So that support was just huge. We went to do this in 2020 in March. Then the pandemic hit, so we had to put it on hold. So we're back tonight, and they said, hey, listen, we're pretty friendly with this guy, but we ought to tell you he's not a basketball player or coach. He's a football player. And it was like they thought I was going to run or hinge up or punch her. I was like, it's okay. Football's cool. Football's all right. So we had a really, really good laugh about that. And then he's like, it's the guy's name is Jay Alford. Now listen, I'm a earmuffs, longtime Steeler fan. Jumped on a wagon when I was 7 years old. Stayed with them since. But because I live here, my other team to follow with Brian Moberg, Mike Malone, and everybody else, we leave out of the stadium in Seagert and take up and I was the Giants. That was the local team. I could get there every weekend, and that's who I started supporting. They were on the other side either, the NFC, so it didn't matter. I had my AFC squad, my NFC squad, all was good. So when I heard that this gentleman, Jay Alford, might possibly be interested in getting on a podcast and having a cigar, I shit myself. I was like, this is a Super Bowl champ. I was like, Super Bowl champ. So I was very, very excited. So without further ado, I'd like to say thank you so much and introduce Jay Alford.
Man, that was some intro. I'll take it. How you doing?
Yeah.
What's up?
So how are you doing, man?
I'm good. Can't complain. Anytime I could give me a stick, a glass of wine, I'm good. Cozy. Yeah, cozy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the thing that's most obvious to everybody, and I was kind of talking to Jay like, listen, man, it's all good. It's all happy stuff. I'm never going to bring up anything bad. I know that people remember Jay for something, and we're going to talk about it now because I used it to post to get people here and increase the interest in you watching and everything else. It's the second down sack, right? Super Bowl 42, and we're going to talk about that whole shit Roman numeral system that sucks.
Right.
It took me a week to figure out what Super Bowl it was he won because I didn't know XLII, and I had to go back and study my Roman numeral system before he came on the show. I was embarrassed. You have to put the number in front. Like we do 4 minus 2 is 2. They do like 2 in front of 4 means 2.
Yep.
So I don't like the Romans for that. I got through that and I learned and everything else, but it was really, really cool to learn a lot about Jay and do my research. As I even told Jack Ford when I had him on, I said, I don't care how well I know you, how long I've been playing ball with you and everything else, I still respect you and do my homework. Because I didn't know Jay, my homework was vast. It was expansive, and I spent a lot of time on it. And what I got to learn about this incredible human being is what we're going to talk about. But one of the things people remember him and love him for is that sack. So to set up the situation, I can't do it justice. So Jay, talk to everybody about that Super Bowl experience. We're going to talk about tonight you getting drafted. We're going to talk about, because the draft is coming up, and that's why I really thought it was awesome for you to be on now, because the draft is coming up next week. You went through it. I think you were the first pick in the third round at 07?
I won 81st pick. So I guess that I might be right. Yeah,
I think you're the first pick, third round, 2007. And we talked a little bit about this, right? Everybody thinks they're going to, we're going to talk about it a lot tonight. But you know him for the sack. So take everybody through that experience of being a Super Bowl champion, what it was like to play with the Giants, that play, that game, that season. Talk about that for a moment.
I mean, for me coming into it, leaving, Penn State, and then, because Penn State's a pretty big school,
You think?
Joe Powell was my coach. So, these situations, weren't really like it wasn't big for me. Like, I'm going back to go forward, right? So, we played in bowl games, this and that, and we played under, 110,000 people, stuff like that. So I mean, that part wasn't, it was fun for me. I had a good time. So moving along, I get drafted, and then I get to the season, and we don't start off well. We start off 0-2. I want to say something like that. And if any of you guys know, Giants fans are more so like, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
Like, it's not, they're not like, I would say, Oakland fans are just like, hey, listen, we lose, I don't care. We're in it, I don't care how it looks. Giants fans are like, hey, you lose one more, we're going to come to the games just to boo you. I'll let you know, right? So we start off 0-2, and, it's not looking good. Well, I mean, it's still early, though, And so then, we start moving along, and we're progressing, and then, we're starting to pick up pace or pick up speed a little bit, and then from that point, we get to the playoffs, or we get to the wild card game. And, well, no, let me go back, because we play the Patriots the last game of the season. That was our last game. And at that point, we're playing, we're getting to Brady. So now we're figuring out the recipe. Like, we know what it's going to take if we saw them again, So we're picking up the recipe as we're playing this game. We're learning. And we end up losing the game. But then we get, we're talking, walking back into the locker room, and, as a defensive line, we're talking. We're like, Stray said, OC said, they're like, hey, we see them again, I don't think it'll be the same outcome. I think we win this game 100% if we see them again. And at that point, I'm like, they're undefeated. At this point,
shit sounds good.
I mean, like it's good. It's good locker room talk, and it's just like, I don't know,
Yeah.
At that point, I didn't see it that way, and this is just me thinking that, because our season was so up and down.
Now, did you ever? Now I know Stray was a mentor to you in a lot of ways, based on the research I've done and things you've said about him. Did you let him know you were feeling that at that point, or is that something you kept in?
No, because I didn't want to ruin the morale of the locker room. Like we were, even though we lost that game, we were still kind of riding high because we were still winning. Yeah, it wasn't like we had a real shitty season. Like it was still. A solid season, I would say. So we get to the playoffs, and I think this is when it started to click, like really click. I mean, for defense or defensive line, it really started to click for us. Like everybody started to get in tune with each other, and it was just really feeling good. And now we kind of put ourselves in a space where it was just like us against everyone. Yeah, it didn't matter. Like nothing broke our locker room. Or whoever came into that locker room, whoever was with us, was us. That was it. You. Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like the room tonight, how I was saying before. Right. They were with me early. You're here tonight. Like, this is my room. This is my room. I got you.
Exactly. I got you. So we went to back for each other. And, we get to Dallas, and we make it out that game. And I'm like, they beat us twice that year. Like, twice in the regular season they beat us. So we get to that game, and, we win off of an interception, which is like, defense, right? So now we're really starting to really like, oh, okay, I'm feeling it. We're feeling good. Then we get to who was it? Tampa Bay. We run through them, right? We run through Tampa Bay. Then now we get to, which I feel like kind of put us in the mood, or put me in the mindset of, okay, we see the Patriots again, we'll win. And that was when we faced Green Bay. And Brett Favre, Green Bay had to be the coldest game I've ever played in, period. And listen,
Penn State played a lot of cold games.
Listen, I played in Canada, I played in Happy Valley, and I would tell you,
Saskatchewan, colder than Saskatchewan?
Yes.
Shit.
100%, because it wasn't just cold, right? It was the wind chill, right? So the wind chill, here's a quick story, side story. Yeah, man, we got time. Right?
This is your show, bro.
Right. So we get to Green Bay, and we get from the plane, we walk to the bus, and then now bus ride to the hotel. So
when he's starting to tell a story about cold weather, and he's starting to describe when we got off the bus and walked to the car, you know that shit was cold.
Right.
For that to be an important part of the story, you know that was cold.
So here we go, right? So we all have suits on because Coughlin wanted us all to travel in suits, which is, I like it because we did it at Penn State. So we get there, we had suits on. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, maybe I could try to get used to the cold. I'm gonna stand outside for 5 minutes, and 5-10 minutes to see if I'll be okay. I stood outside, and I promise you, this wind was going so hard, it felt like I literally had nothing on. I'm like, I cannot. 15 seconds.
Oh
I'm like, I'm going inside. Lord, help me.
Tough D-line for a guy that's about to play in a playoff game.
Right. Mind you, Tuck never wore like Under Armour or long sleeves.
Yeah.
Never. Stray, another one, right?
Yeah.
Never wore like the long sleeves.
Yeah.
Me coming from Jersey, I'm like, listen, I don't like the cold, but I know how to prepare for it. So in that space, I had about 4 if you go back and look at any of those pictures,
I absolutely am.
I look like the kid from A Christmas Story. Ralphie, Ralphie, the brother that couldn't put his arms down, that guy. Oh yeah. So I'm just like.
So everybody, please do me this favor. Get a good chuckle. Go to one of the pictures I posted in anticipation of tonight's. I think I put one on Instagram earlier today where he's actually sacking Brady, and you get a good shot of his arms. Say, oh, but this is the Green Bay game. Go Google the Green Bay game. I'm definitely doing that tonight. I am definitely doing that tonight. It's Green Bay. My bad.
Right. So
that's
then,
right. Damn it.
Right. So then now we're playing the game. We're playing the game, and then now it's fourth quarter, and another quick story. So me being a rookie, right, and again I was the short snapper for us. So me and Zach Diassi at the time, we split time. So Zach was the long snapper, I was the short snapper. So I came in for field goals.
Okay.
And yeah. So that was our rookie year. It was he did long snaps, I did short snaps. So in that game, me being the rookie, this was going into the field goal that LT missed, the first one, right? So we get to the sideline, and I'm like, man, I think they're trying to ice the kicker. But then I'm like, oh, what if they're trying to ice me, though? So then I'm like, no, I've been doing this. I've been doing good this whole season. There's no way they're trying to ice me. But then I'm like, but what if I mess this snap up? I'm like, Jay, you've been doing this all, and I promise you, this is all in the timeout. A minute. This is a minute that I'm going through.
It's
all
crazy
of these,
how that works, right?
All of these, and then I'm like, oh, Jay, don't mess up the snap. I'm like, holy shit, Jay, do not mess this snap up. This is all on you. You got to get it back there for us to win this game.
I never thought of it from that perspective, right?
Man.
You think about it just from the kicker's perspective, but I never thought about it from the snapper's perspective.
And then being a rookie, right? This was heavy on me. Right? Just because, like, during the regular season, it's just like, oh, this is second nature. You go out there, you snap the ball. And me, Feegs, and LT, we had we do this after practice, before practice, 100 reps. All of it. So then when you get to the game where they call a timeout, and then it's like, oh, Jay, don't fuck this snap up. Don't mess this. So now I'm getting down to my stance. And I'm like, Jay, if all the snaps you cannot mess up, do not mess this one up. And I kid you not, he got laces in, like Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
Ace Ventura laces in. Oh, and that's how he fucked the kick up. Because he got the laces in, he kicked the laces, and the ball went, it didn't go in. So then now I'm running off the field. I'm like, oh shit, I hope we get another shot at this. And Coach Coughlin, he came to me, he's like, Jay, don't worry about it, we'll get another shot. I'm like, I don't believe you. I don't feel like we will, right? Because I'm a very logical thinker. I'm like, a lot of times it doesn't happen like that. Then now we're playing against Brett Favre, and I'm just like, oh man, I hope we get another shot. So now, being a professional, you have to get that out your mind, right? Yeah. So now you get it out your mind. We go back out there, and again, our defensive line, we're playing well. We're getting to them. I don't know how many sacks we had in that game, but we're getting to them. So in this play, we get to him, we get an interception. I said, he was right? So then now we get another opportunity. Now I'm like, no, fuck this. I'm just going out there doing it, nothing in my head. Go, Jay, make the snap, and on to the Super Bowl we go. So then after that, it was just like, I know now we have the football gods on our side.
Yeah.
It's that time. It's that time for us. Yep. Even though, we had this, mediocre season, right now is our time, and we're gonna ride this wave.
None of that mattered.
Yeah, none of it mattered. Right. So like I said, like my mindset changed from the end of the season, the last game of the season, going into that Patriots game to this Patriots game.
Yep.
right? So now Strahan and OC, both of them were right, seeing them again.
Yep.
So now my confidence is like, oh, yeah, we're kicking their ass. Like, they don't have a shot, because,
awesome.
right. So now it's just like they don't have a shot because, one, we're playing in warmer weather, right? When we played them in, it was Giant Stadium at the time, not MetLife.
Yep.
But we're playing them in Giant Stadium. It was cold, that wind, you know how that wind goes. And it swirls and stuff like that.
Yep.
So now we get out.
Oh, I know y'all kicked. I know the whole story
Right.
about opening those
Opening
big
doors?
doors
Yeah,
when
yeah.
the other
Oh, yeah,
teams
that's
were
a thing.
kicking.
That's
I
a
know
thing.
all about that because I sat in the damn seats.
Right, that's a thing, right?
So every time they came to kick a field goal, the other team, I'd be like, "Oh man,
Right.
get ready for it. It's coming."
Right. So then now I'm, my confidence is on 1,000,000 at this point, So now we get down there and we see how Arizona, this was when Arizona just got their stadium. It was brand new.
Yeah.
So we get out there and their grass was, it felt like the artificial turf. So it was a very fast field.
Yeah.
And that's what we dwelled on that.
Yep.
Because we had a defensive front that was called NASCAR just because we got off the ball and we got after it.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, this is even better for us. So now, all of this is going into it. Now we have our own motivation going into it, right? So then now we get to media. You got that media week that you have to do.
No, I don't. I've never been a
Right.
Super Bowl champ.
Well,
he's
you're
talking to me like, "Oh, you've been there." Well, no, I haven't.
But you're a basketball guy, though. So I'm just,
okay,
just
I get
trying
you.
to,
I get you. I bet you.
Right.
I have been in some media conferences,
Right.
Division I, but not Super Bowl.
Right. So, so at this point, we get to the media week, and Plex, I think he said that we were gonna win it. I think it was 17-14 or something like that, or somewhere in that range. Yeah, I think it was 17-14 we win. And Brady gets up there. He has his whole interview, and he's like, "Oh, we're only gonna score 14 points." I'm like, "Do you not know who we are?"
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, listen, yeah, you're only going to score that amount. Like, why do you feel like you're going to score more than 14 points?
Yeah.
Our defense is killing right now. We're killing right now. Have you not been watching the games?
Yeah.
Right? So in my mind, this is what I'm thinking.
That's almost a huge sign of disrespect.
No, that's how we took it. We took it that way. We took it as total disrespect.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're going to score 40 points. I think, come on. Come on.
Okay.
Like, right, exactly. Right.
Yep.
So then now we're in, we're playing the game. And at this point, we're killing Brady. I mean, kicking his ass. Like, there's nothing he could really do. Well, it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
It was nothing his offensive line could do.
Yeah.
We were like our front four was getting to him so quick that we didn't even need blitzes.
Yeah.
And then when we sent blitzes, the blitzes was getting home because they couldn't block us.
Yeah.
Right? So then, you get to that point, we had to hit Brady at least 10 to 12 times. He doesn't like that, you know? And that was our recipe going into it, because in the last game of the season, we got to him. It was a close game again, right?
Yep.
You get the Brady.
And that's when you dropped.
Yeah.
Right? You guys dropped that
exactly.
game, but you still had the confidence from that.
Exactly.
And that's
right.
what
Because that's how we got the
with
recipe
you.
of how to beat them.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So in that space, it was just like, we're getting to him. We didn't sack him as many times as we hit him, but I think we still walked away with 6 or 7 sacks.
I'm going to say 9.
Okay, yeah, we'll go with that. 9. I forget how many it was.
6.
Yeah, I mean, I forget how many it was, but it was a lot to sack a quarterback in one day. So we get to I guess so now we're rolling around to the fourth quarter, and it's we're up, and we have to seal the game. And again, my rookie year, I'm out there with all vets, and this is the NASCAR deal we got going. So it's all pass rushers, even the 2 tackles. I guess, the D-line coach at the time, Coach Waffle, he respected me enough to be like, no, you're a pass rusher. Go out there and do your job, right?
Yeah.
So it was we're all out there, but me, I respect Stray so much. It was just like, Stray, what do you need me to do on this space right here? Because I want you to, because you're Strahan, right? It's just like it's just like, come on, you're Stray. Like, what do you want? So I'm not, messing up your vibe, right?
Yep.
So in that space, he was just like, Jay, stay inside. I was like, all right, cool. So as long as he gave me the green light to stay inside, which is cool because I was beating my guy upfield so much this whole game. You know, defensive line is sort of a, you know, it's a chess game. You know, a lot of people don't think that. They think, oh, they're big guys. They just go out there and hit each other. No, it's a chess game, right?
Yeah.
So in that space, that whole game, I'm beating him upfield. Stray gave me, he was like, Jay, just stay inside. I was like, okay, cool, got it, thank you. So Stray stayed upfield, right? And I started upfield, and then I faked inside. My guy, he lost it because he jumped so far outside to make sure that I don't beat him out there. When I came back inside, it parted like the Red Sea. It was just like, what? So wait, backstory. I'm gonna take you back one more time. So in this space, right? I told halftime because I'm having a good game, a decent game. So I'm like, you know, I'm talking to my D-line. I was like, hey, if I get a shot to hit Brady, like a solo shot, I'm gonna try to break him in half. I'm gonna literally try to break him in half. Literally. So you know, going forward, it opened up like the Red Sea. I was like, this is not happening. This is not it. Is this it? Right? So I get through and I turn on the Jets because Brady gets the ball off. So, and you have to respect this guy because, again, 7 Super Bowls, right? So, 7. And I promise you that Patriots offense, he could close his eyes and complete passes. He was that good, and he knew that offense that well that he would know where his receivers are with his eyes closed. I promise you.
Yep.
He got the ball off quicker than any quarterback that I've ever seen that I've played against, and I've played against a few. And he's gotten the ball off quicker than those guys. Yeah. Right? So I get there.
I love how he puts it so modest. I played against a few. Just a few.
Well, I mean, yeah, a few. All right. But so I'm like, I turn on the Jets because I know he can get this ball off pretty quick in 0.5 seconds. You know, quarterbacks, they usually give quarterbacks like 2 seconds to 2 to 3 seconds to get rid of the ball. If not, then now you're scrambling. Right? Mm-hmm. He can get the ball off in 0.5 to a second, somewhere in that space. Yeah. And you got Randy Moss, right? Yeah. Threaten himself, like, I don't care how old Randy Moss is. If you give him one-on-one and straight away, I'm taking Randy.
Randy
you
Moss?
know? Yeah, I'm taking Randy. Yeah. 6'5", 6'6". Yeah. Runs like a deer. Like
he done a few things too.
Exactly. Right. Right. So, all right, like I said, I turn on the Jets and I get the hit. And I'm like, oh man, that was a good shot. But I felt like he threw the ball off. So when I got up, I didn't even look down. I looked back because I thought the ball was going.
Because you knew he gets it out that fast.
Yeah, so I knew he was going to Randy. Yeah. I knew that was the thing. He was going to Randy. I knew it. So I get up and I turn around. But when I turn around, Stray's like in front of me. And he's like, he grabs my helmet and he was like, good sack, Jay. I was like, what? Look back. I said, holy shit. But this is why like in those photos, there's no sack dance. Like usually I'll have something prepared. Like after a sack, you usually have something prepared, right? And when I got up, it was nothing. I had nothing because I didn't know, like the ball got caught on the back of my helmet. Yeah. That's why, because it was a throwing motion, but when I hit him, the ball got caught in the back of my helmet.
Yeah, it's
I didn't
clear
feel
in the photo.
Right.
Clear in the photo.
Yeah, I didn't feel it. So when I thought he got the ball off, so when Stay said good sack, I looked back and I was like, no way, not now, because this is like the biggest sack of the game. Yeah. Like everybody, like we sacked them a lot of times in that game. Yeah. But I'm like, if this is a sack, then I just made the biggest sack of the game.
Oh heck yeah.
Oh, so I turned around and I said, holy shit, that was it. That was the sack.
And it was it. It was it.
That was it. And that kind of would seal the Super Bowl, which was, you know, I mean, outside of the epic plays that we had, the David Tyree, the Eli scramble, the Plex touchdown to put us up. Like we had, you know, epic plays in that game. Yes. But I'm like, this kind of sealed it because it took them out of whatever range they wanted to get in, took them out of whatever game plan they had. So it was great.
And for the people listening, as Jay relights his cigar, the situation was there was under a minute left in the game. The Super Bowl 42. 17-14, Giants are up. Brady had the ball driving, and a lot of people now know what that could turn into. So it was 2nd down and 10. Jay got through. Stray said stay inside. He made the move on his man, went inside, sacked him, then became 3rd and 20, and it was a wrap. Then it was just scramble, desperation, Super Bowl champ.
Yep.
And he's here with us tonight. So
that's how it got.
Absolutely humbling to have you here. That's a great story. Thank you so much for sharing it.
No problem.
And I was actually going to put I'm 50, Jay. I'm an older man. And I was going to put my reading glasses on to see exactly how many sacks, because it's in my research. I know exactly how many sacks you had.
Right.
Maybe I'll share it with you after the show. I didn't want to be rude and look at my notes while you were talking. But that's the whole setup of the situation Jay just described. Congratulations. What did it feel like to be a Super Bowl champ? That's something nobody can ever take away from you.
No, ever. Again, like, I don't think it hit me until, I want to say, after. I don't think it didn't hit me until the parade, right? So we won the game. Yeah, we won the game. Like, all of this is going 100 miles a second, right? So you win the Super Bowl, you celebrate. Oh, right. You go back. There's a party, right? And then now you're still celebrating. You're kind of out of it, right? So you really have no time to really just appreciate what just happened. Well, at least for me, right? I didn't have any time to just kind of appreciate it. You know, I had family out there. I'm celebrating with them. They're like, "Oh, you're Super Bowl champ." I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm a Super Bowl champ." Great, right? So then, when I get home and kind of, sit back, and it's just like, shit, I just won the Super Bowl, right? So then now I'm talking. talking to Stray, because we come back to work a little bit, and then I'm talking to Stray. He was just like, because his at that time his locker was close to mine, or the defensive line, we all kind of sat together. So even if his locker wasn't close to mine, like, we would still rap with each other, right?
Sure.
We're sitting down, we're talking or whatever. And he was just like, Jay, you don't take this for granted, because I've been here 15 years, and this is my first win that I got.
And weren't you a rookie? Was
Yeah.
it your first?
Yeah. So
spoiled brat.
Right. So in my head, I'm like, oh no, straight. We'll do this for 14 more times. No worries. You'll be back to 1 next year. Don't worry about it. We'll be good. Right. But he was just like, not really. Don't take this for granted, because it's not everybody gets to see this. And I think that's kind of when it started to set in. It was just like, shit, like there's so many NFL teams, but there's only a few that could say, oh no, we went to the dance and we won it, you know? So I think that's when it started to set in, and it was just like, shit, I'm a Super Bowl champ. Like, I mean, you don't really get to, like, not a lot of football players could say they went to the dance, won it, right, and had a huge impact in the game.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't. Yeah, you can't even put words on that. You can't put
like
words on
movie
that.
stuff.
Right, exactly.
That's awesome.
You can't put words on that.
That's awesome. And that's I'm just gonna look at the time, Jay, because I know it's 6:40, so we have about 20 minutes, because I know you have something else to do tonight. And again, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, no problem.
That's a great segue for what I'd like to discuss. So part of this is selfish, right? Because I want to know about you as a person, a human being, and I also lived a little bit of this life. So when I started getting into basketball, I was a high school coach. We had done pretty well here in the state of New Jersey, a couple teams that I had, and then I transitioned to working at Morgan Stanley. Right. And when I started working at Morgan Stanley, I wanted to work with the kids that I used to coach, right? So one of the first guys I was talking to quite frequently was a kid I was blessed to coach in an NBA-sanctioned summer league, Jason Thompson. Jason was out at Ryder. He was projected to be a lottery pick. So I was working at Morgan Stanley. I got to meet a couple guys like Leon Rosa and them, and I would just rap with them and talk like, what are your needs? What do you do, right? So these guys come from either moderate backgrounds, low backgrounds, and all of a sudden, meaning financially, right, demographics and income levels, all of a sudden they're going draft, Super Bowl champ, they're at these high levels. And it's funny what and the reason we're talking about this now is twofold. Number one is the draft is coming up, so a lot of young men are going to be in a similar position you were in 2007, right? And also, you lived through it, so what a great opportunity to talk to you about this. And not only did you live through it, but you also talked about it quite often in a lot of your articles, and you also lived it through it, so what we're going to talk about. I know this seems like I'm talking in code, but I just want there to be some type of normal progression to the conversation. So I would have all these talks with the guys, their families. I'd go out to Moody Bible in Chicago for the pre-draft camp every year, sit down with a lot of families and say, hey, are you prepared for the money? And they have all these high-level people, but the problem is, or what the perception again was, you know, they're profiting off of naive families and naive young kids who really don't know any better. So they're going to take the money. They're going to take the 3, 4, 5%. They don't know about taxes and everything else, and everybody wants it. So the agents and everybody else seems to have wanted it. Again, perception, not true. I've met a lot of great agents who do the right thing, right? But the perception is a lot of people who don't have it are going to try to play on those who are about to get it,
100%.
right? And I didn't like that. So I was like, listen, I'm going to go in there and try to truly get to them through education.
Yeah.
Now you went through that experience and you've said a couple things, and I am going to put my glasses on because these were quotes that really, really resonated with me. So pardon me, Jay, for having to do this. It's no disrespect to you or the conversation, but I want to get my shit right.
No worries.
Right? So you said, you lasted on the Giants from 7 to 9, correct? About 3 seasons, 4 seasons?
10. Yeah, so I got hurt in 10. Yeah.
Okay, I apologize for that.
It's all good.
So 3 full playing seasons, you got hurt in 10, your 4th season there.
Yep.
And you said in an article by Ryan Dunleavy in NewJersey.com on July 1st, 2019, it's always tough to adjust to the real world when you've been in a football state. The average NFL career lasts 3.3 years, according to the Players Association. Not every player retires as a millionaire. That's the perception of a lot of people, but that's not the reality. For every 235 million man like Eli, there are dozens who earned NFL salaries of 480 or slightly more and are unemployed in their mid-20s. So talk about that to people listening, because everybody's perception is draft day, all these kids are going to be multi-millionaires. And then I think the kids enter that with the misperception of, now I made it, I'm going to buy mom and dad a house, going to get them the car they want, and all of a sudden, to your point, 25 unemployed, no money.
Right.
What happened?
Yeah.
But you kind of changed that. So talk first about that, answer that, and then we're going to talk about how you interned and how you felt you want to fall back on your degree from Penn State in design and graphics. I'm very interested in this.
Yeah. So I guess like to touch on the wait, repeat the question. What was the first one?
So
First question, and then go to the second.
Take the viewers now, who's in this room tonight and watching online.
Yeah.
The popular perception of a lot of people, I think, and you guys all sitting in here, tell me if I'm wrong. People who get drafted automatically made.
Oh yeah. So I mean, even in the space of coming from, you know, I come from Orange, New Jersey, right? So it's just 2.2 square miles. Like, it's inner city. Like, it's, you know, it's small, right? So to even see somebody that, you know, they know, you know, i.e. me, you know, get drafted, right? To actually turn on ESPN, right, and see, oh, Jay went in the first day, right? Because at that time they didn't do it like now. Like, it's a whole setup. Like, it's the first round is a whole day by itself now.
Yes.
It's a whole thing, right? But before, when I was playing, it was you know, the first day was 1, 2, and 3, and then the second day was 4, 5, 6, and 7, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. So in that space, to be able to turn on the TV and be like, oh, look, Jay just got drafted in the first day. He's good. He's good, right? Yeah. Even my mindset, I'm like, oh, I'm good. First 3 rounds, I'm like, oh, this would be millions of dollars, right? Yeah. So then now, you know, you get to that space, and then you figure out, like, you know, when you're actually in it, it's just like, no, everybody's slotted for their first contract, right? They're slotted. So when you're a rookie, if you look at last year's third round this time, right, you would know what I would get by a percentage, right? It would go up 1%.
Yep.
And that's the money that I would get. So you would know that by that part, right?
Yep,
so
yep.
I didn't know that at that time. So I was just like, oh, no, I got millions of dollars. I want to do everything that I, you know, said I was going to do when I was younger. When I got to this space, let's buy the house. Let's buy the car. Let's buy, you know, let's buy this. Let's buy the jewelry, right? Do all of that.
Yeah.
Did it. And I, you know, stupid. But again, like, at that time, I had a financial advisor who wasn't good at his job, right? So I ended up being one of those statistics that got caught in that space.
You were the one of the guys I was trying to protect you
Exactly,
from.
right.
I got you.
So in that space, you know, I was one of the statistics in the space of him not giving me the information, or me not wanting to go out and get the information on how to make my money work for me.
Do you think that's changed? Do you think more players now are interested in learning about that themselves? Or do you still
100%, because now I think, because of social media, right, everybody that plays this game now sees themselves as a brand, right? Me, at that time, I was just playing football to play football because I loved what I did. Yeah. I love to play football. I love to be a team guy. This is what I love to do. So this is what I'm going to do. Anything else outside of this can wait. I'm going to do this. Nowadays, kids going in, they already know about, like, no, this is how I want to portray myself. This is how I want people to see me, right? I'm going to set my social media up that way. I'm going to do everything to make it look like this is how I want to portray myself. So I'm pretty sure that the kids these days have guys that's working for them or have the knowledge of how to make it work.
Yeah, or have better people in the corner.
Exactly.
They know better now.
Right, exactly,
okay.
100%.
Okay.
So in that space, I didn't have that because I didn't have, one, a financial advisor who wanted to give me the knowledge to let me learn, even though that's not his job. You know, his job is just to be a financial advisor or whatever. I'd
argue. I don't want to talk half hour.
Right,
I'd argue that.
Yeah,
a good one.
Will
assume
exactly.
you like I would look at you as family.
Right, and that's how it should be. That's how I thought it was.
I want a long-term relationship
exactly,
with you.
Right.
If I take it for what you're worth in day one, and I don't care about you day 4, day 5, probably never going to have a relationship with you after that. It's all short-term shit.
Correct.
And your word of mouth telling everybody about it.
Correct.
They're done.
Exactly.
It's just
exactly.
So anyway.
Right. So so a good one should give you the information and knowledge that you need to know to figure out how to make your money work for you, right? And then and me having the mindset of being just a football player at the time, you know, I was naive to a lot of things, right? And I just assumed that, well, I'll be here for 15 years at max, you know, so I'll be good if I just, fuck up this contract or do whatever, you know?
Yep.
So in that space, I became one of the statistics, right? So
and you said there were 2 things that stopped you. I interrupted, and I apologize. You said one was a poor financial advisor. What was the second one? What was the second factor?
What? Second factor on what?
You said there were 2 factors that kind of to set you up the wrong way. One was the financial advisor. Was there a second one you were thinking of?
No, it was just, I think that was the main one. And I think I guess the second one would be, me being naive to the fact that my career was going to be longer than what it was, in that space. It's just like, when you're playing football, and mind you, I've never had an injury in football up until, I get to the NFL.
Yeah. So
I'm like, oh no, I should be good. I should be good. I've been going pretty good this whole time.
Yeah.
Why would I get injured now? So I'm thinking, my career is going to last at least 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. And that's my mindset at this point in time. So I'm like, I could spend a little money here, right? And in that space, again, my money's not working for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's doing nothing. Like, I'm buying, I have the cars, I have the house, right? The jewelry, have all of that, right? But in that same space, it's not doing nothing. Like, now it's depreciating, right? Because the cars depreciate, right?
Yep.
Once you get them.
Yep.
The only thing that could have held some value was the house because it had equity, right?
Yeah.
But then, the jewelry, nothing, right?
Yep.
All of that stuff means nothing
Yep.
in the space if your money's not working for you,
Yep.
right? So in that space, I kind of, like I said, I became the statistic in that point.
Yep.
So because, again, like I got injured, and that's what I didn't see happening.
You were one of the guys I just read about, average life 3.3 years.
Yeah. And before
and I'm not saying that at disrespect.
No.
That's to your point.
It was
when
what
you
it
say
was.
I became a statistic. I'm just explaining to everybody watching. That's what you mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
You now became part of that statistic.
Exactly.
That's what you mean by that.
100%. And then before it moved up to 3.3, because the game has gotten a little softer, right? So it moved up to 3.3. Right before it was 2, like 2.5, something like that.
Yeah.
So it moved up a year and a half.
Yeah.
So in that space, it was like, oh no, like what do I do now? I got hurt, right? So now it's just like, well, what do I do? Like, even though I rehabbed back and I was able to get my 4th year and get credited for my 4th year when I went to Oakland, basically I had 3.5 years for the most part of playing time.
Yep.
Playing time. So then it's just like, now what? Like, what do you do now, right? Because my identity was football. Yep. My identity was football. My earnings was football, right? It was nothing else, right? Even though I could have, in my rookie contract, put monies alongside for businesses and stuff like that, business ventures and stuff like that. That's not where I was thinking. I wasn't thinking that way. I was thinking, I'm gonna play football forever, be rich, and sit back and chill.
Yep.
And it didn't work out like that.
Yep,
It didn't work out like that. So then now, like, I lost my identity in that space. This was like, I would say 2013 maybe? Yeah, 13, because that's when I kind of hung up the cleats. Like, I went to Canada for a year, and then I got back, and then I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be a journeyman. Like, I want to get to a team and be good in that team and just stay there, you know? Because that's what, you know, any football player would want to do. Nobody wants to play that journeyman role. Even though, I mean, that's still better. You're still playing football, you know? Again, that wasn't my mindset. Like, I'm just like, no, I want to be here. I'm better than all of this and that. Like, you start to get this, you know, this kind of egotistical mindset, you know? Because even me playing in Canada, I was just like, this is not, I'm better than this.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even enjoying the fact that I was playing football, still professionally, right? Mm-hmm. But I wasn't enjoying it because it wasn't the NFL.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I was going to say, and I always promise my guests I never talk about anything bad. So if you're uncomfortable answering this, please, by all means, just give me a high sign. I'll keep moving.
Yeah.
But mentally, what place did you go to after realizing my identity's gone as a football player? You just got done telling us this is all you did. You didn't care about any of that. All you did was want to play football.
Yeah.
Now that got taken from you at a relatively young age.
Yeah.
Right. So, what kind of mental place did that put you in? Because the reason I'm asking that is because I anticipate, based on you saying this, and knowing how many guys in the NFL are in your situation, does the NFL provide does the NFPA provide like counseling for guys? Is it that big of a problem, or no?
No, it's a huge problem because again, there's a lot of guys that think like me and they don't know who to reach out to. Like at that time, I didn't know who to reach out to.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't until like I don't know, like it was I think a girlfriend at the time. She was doing research. I was kind of just like out of it. Like I was in a depressed state because I didn't know who to talk to because I went, I go to talk to my grandmother, right?
Yeah.
And
you were raised by her, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Go to talk to my grandmother, and it's just like, she's just like, oh, just get another job. I was like, what? What do you mean, just get another job? Like, I've been doing, like, I'm playing professional football. Like, what other job is going to equal up to that?
It's grandma.
But again, right? Logically, it was a job, correct? Like, it was a job. Yes, it was a high-profile job. But it was still a job.
Yeah.
So her logic was absolutely correct. Just go get another job.
Right.
Me, my mindset, I'm like, no, there's no way. This is who I identify myself. I'm Jay, the football player, right? Yeah. What am I if I'm not playing football? Yeah. So in that space, it was just like, I was depressed for a while.
Yeah.
For a while. And then it was, like I said, like an old girlfriend of mine, she was doing the research and she kind of was like, oh, maybe you should reach out to them. So once I started reaching out to them, then it was just like, oh, okay, so there is kind of a network that you can reach out to kind of, get, and they do a good job at it. It's just that, a lot of times guys end up leaving and it's kind of jaded, because mine was a little jaded in the space of, the NFL just forgot about me. Like they don't, I did all of this work, blood, sweat, and tears, and they just kind of just threw me to the side. This kind of mentality that I had.
Shame.
Yeah, and the NFL, I mean, it's a business, and you have to, like, they're doing their business due diligence. Like, if you can't do the job, then we need to bring somebody else in that can.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Again,
just
logic.
Right, exactly. It's very logical, but
it doesn't make the pain go away.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't. Yeah. But the NFLPA, they, again, like I said, like there's a network that you can reach out to, and they do help. They help a lot, So in that space, it got me out of it, and that's how I got back into, doing the stuff that I love, because I would say I was in a crazy mindset for about a year and a half, 2 years. Yep. And then it was just like, I gotta get up and start doing something, right? Yep. So then now I started picking up stuff or picking up hobbies, trying to figure out like, okay, what do I like to do, right? I was running from graphic design, running from that. Yeah. Because it was just like, I'm older, like I already did a career.
Now for the people that don't know Jay, I'm gonna say, so Jay and I talked a little bit briefly because we didn't know each other before this evening. I was intrigued because Jay majored in graphic design at Penn State or something along those lines?
No, correct, yeah.
So did you look to fall back on that immediately? You said you ran from
I didn't.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't because again the kids that were coming out, right? They were already, programmed to, from their graphic design perspective, they were already programmed to, once they leave here, if they get a graphic design job, up and running. Up and running, they're good. You don't have to really tell them too much because it's, this is what they went to school for, up and running.
And with as fast as technology moves, they're 3 years ahead of you.
Oh, easily.
You're on a football field, they're in a classroom practicing on a computer.
Correct, right, easily. So my graphic design, right, it stopped at Penn State, right? So I got my degree in 07? 07. So football all the way up until we would say 13. 13 is kind of like when it was just like, so that's when I retired, or, I retired. And then, like I said, I was running from it just because of that space of me being scared to jump back into it, because it's just like, I don't want to fuck that up too, So now I'm a little nervous about going back into that space, so I push it away. And I'm just trying to figure out, things to do in this space of what I like, and just trying to figure it all out. Actually, just becoming a normal adult, right? So, but I hit normal adulthood late because you're in this NFL bubble, right? Yeah. You're not able to grow. Well, at least for me, right? Yeah. Because everybody does everything for you. Yeah. So it's just like, if I need something, call somebody, it's done. It'll be there within the hour. Yeah. Right? So anything that I need, like I'm good. So I didn't have to learn how to fix anything or learn anything. Like buy my own cars. I didn't have to do that. Yeah. Like all of this space, it was just like, oh no, somebody would do it for me. So it was just like, I don't, I'm good. I'm good. So in that space, I'm learning adulthood later on in life. I'm 27, 28 at this point, 27, 28, somewhere around there. Yeah. And it's just like, oh man, I got to really hone in on this and kind of figure this out. Yeah. So then I'm like, all right, well, fuck it. I'm going to go. I'm going to see what's going to happen, right? So I had to, go back, reteach myself the stuff that I learned at Penn State while learning the stuff that is current for this day and age.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm like, this is tough. This is tough. It's a different type of grind, but again, you apply your mindset from what you had in the NFL and you apply it to something else, right? So my work ethic was just like, well, if I don't understand it, then I have to figure this out.
That's the one transferable skill, and that's why I think a lot of companies look to hire athletes.
Yeah.
Because, hey, whatever it takes, just get through it. Let's get through it.
Right.
And I think a lot of athletes bring that mentality to it.
Right.
Like, hey, we got to show up to play every day.
Right. So it's just like I have to figure out something, right? So I go back to it, and then now I end up getting I get a small, I don't know if Charles Way. So Charles Way, he played for the Giants in the 90s, I want to say, somewhere, maybe like early 90s. Yeah. But we got real close because he was our player engagement guy, right? So we talked, like he talked to the guys more so than we talked to the coaches. Yeah. Right. He was one of the guys that if we needed anything, personally, anything, he was one of the guys that we talked to. So me being out of the NFL at this time, like I'm not, doing anything. I'm trying to find jobs, So he was like, I know a guy that might be looking for something in that space, but if you want to, I guess, hone in on your graphic design skills, I mean, it might help you, right? So this one was in Virginia, and I'm like, shit, Virginia? So I have to go. So I end up going to, what's the town? Charlottesville.
Okay.
Charlottesville. So
UVA territory.
Yeah. So the campus was he went to UVA. Yeah. So that's why, he was a, household name out there. Mm-hmm. So I had ended up driving out there, spending, 7 months interning for this company. It's called MCAM at the time. And they had a designer there, but he just kind of walked me through the Photoshop type of stuff and Creative Cloud type of stuff. Yeah. And I started to hone in on my craft, and I'm like, oh, this is why I loved it. This is why I like to do it, Yeah. And then it became fun again. So then now I was just like, oh, this is fun. I like this. I like creating. So then in that space, I went back. Came back to Jersey like after, I would say, 7 or 8 months, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Came back to Jersey, and then Joanne, she works for the Giants, and she handles, like, again, all of the retired players and current players as well. She helps them out in any space that they need help in. So I reach out to her. I'm like, hey, Joanne, I'm looking for a gig, like I don't have anything to do. Football is over for me. Like, I'm looking for a gig in this space. And then she was like, oh, funny you say that, because we're setting up an intern for retired players to kind of get them back into the workforce.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's why I will have nothing bad to say about the Giants. Just because, like, yeah, football wise, they do football stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But it's a family oriented type of space.
Yep.
So they really buy into once a Giant, always a Giant.
Yeah.
So, like, anybody who ever put on a Giants uniform, if they can help, they will.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
So that's why she set up this. Yeah.
Bro,
right.
Like, that's real talk right
but
there.
But no,
man.
it is.
Awesome.
And it's and that's why I respect that organization. Like, I respect, Tish, Mr. Mara, like, all of them, they're good people. At least as far as I know.
Yep.
Good to me. Like, I was always okay with them guys.
Yep.
So yeah, she was like, oh yeah, we're setting up this program, to kind of help out the retired players to kind of get back into space. And it was me and this other kid that played with me, Kevin Dockery. So we were kind of in the same space of trying to figure it out. He wanted to go back to school, and then after go back to school, he wanted to do something else, in the coaching space of some sort.
Yep.
Me, graphic designing, and she set it up. She was just like, yeah, we're gonna set you up and get you into the space of graphic design and stuff like that. And I was like, I'm in. And then after that, so I did that for a year. And then once I left there, I don't know, the company Topps, that makes the baseball cards.
Spent a lot of money with them in the 70s.
Right, exactly. So I
took all those damn things and made them make sound in my spokes of my bicycle. I'm like, do you know how many rookie cards I ruined in that damn bicycle?
So after that, they hire me. And that's current now. Like, I'm working for Topps now as a graphic designer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's a great.
That's what you're doing now?
Space. Yeah,
congratulations, bro. You know what? We haven't had a sip of our wine. I'm taking
absolutely.
a second.
Yeah,
Cheers
absolutely.
to you for that.
Thank
Congratulations,
you.
Jay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is awesome. I'm going to read a couple quotes about that.
Okay.
Real quick. Mm-hmm. So your boy Doc said, once you're done with football, you have money and time, and that usually equals trouble. I always want to stay busy and stay active. Mm-hmm. And then this is from you.
Yeah.
It says, I was one of the lucky ones. Growing up, I was always into art and graphics. To actually do it after football is a natural transition for me. It's like family. It's always good to come back and see them.
100%.
So even in 2019, 2021, that to me feels like it's a sentiment you're always going to carry with you.
Always. 100%.
That's great.
Yeah.
So do you think what would your advice be? And let me just take a look on the time, because this could be great. All right, so it's 7:04 and I know you have to head out. What would your advice be to two groups of people? One, the public here in the room watching and those online, to possibly change a perception, maybe become more empathetic, like, hey, just because these kids are getting drafted on April 29th, pray for them, because they ain't gonna be set right at this point. Like, always look after them, always support them. And what would you, if you could, have some of these draft players in the room tonight, those that are going to be on there April 29th, what would you say to them?
Right. So I guess for the first question, I would say for the people who think that they're going to be this big millionaire, this and that, I would tell them, give it time. Like, you don't, just because they get drafted, appreciate that part. Just appreciate them being drafted, you knowing them, right? And live within that space, right? Let them learn the actual business side of the game, because I didn't learn the business side of the game. I just went out there and played football, right? Me not knowing the business side of the game, it hurt me. That was a big part that hurt me, because then now it made me angry at the game when it wasn't the game's fault.
Yeah.
It was me. It was me not learning or not doing my due diligence to learn the business side of the game.
Yeah.
Because I just looked at it as football, right? I didn't look at football as being a business. Because if you go through high school, right, you're playing it for the love of the game.
Yep.
You get through college, right? I was one of the guys that, I played all 4 years. I was talented enough to play all 4 years, but there is politics that go into, that side of the game as well. Like if you don't play, it's politics that go into that. I was just one of the lucky ones that played all 4, so I never had to deal with that. It wasn't until I got to the NFL where it's just like, oh no, it's a business too. They paying you a lot of money. It's a business, But I just like, oh no, I'm playing football and getting a check. That's it. That's how I looked at it, right? So I would tell them to just, give it time. Let them learn. They're still young. Like I was 21 when I got drafted. 21 when I was drafted, and you give this 21-year-old kid, all of this money with no business savvy mindset, you're fucked. You're fucked. Yeah, no, you're fucked. Yep. So it's just like, make sure that they're learning this before you start asking. Just let them learn the actual business. Or if you have business sense, give it to them. Let them like, oh, well, I have this, I can teach you that, and then go from there.
So give it a year before you line up and say, hey, can I get a little help?
Right, at least some time. Like, I mean, because even then, it's probably going to take more than a year, depending on the person and when you get drafted, right? Yeah. Because if you get drafted, fourth, fifth round, you're not making the same amount of money as somebody that get drafted top pick, you know? Like like I said, it's slotted, but the first pick of the draft, that's an easy 30 mil, right? Yeah. So that looks a lot different from 30 mil to 200,000.
The whole 6th and 7th round are going to get paid.
Right, exactly. Together. So I mean, somebody that's in the first round would probably have to be more business sense because you're dealing with a lot more money, right? Yeah. When you get down to the lower rounds, it's just like, well, I know I'm gonna have to get another job because if this doesn't work out, 200,000 is not gonna. It's not gonna, it's not. I can't live off of this.
And people don't realize. I remember when I was working with some of the NBA guys. It was so funny. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, so how were you with tax prep?" I was like, "Tax prep? What do you mean?" They're like, "They got to pay income tax in every city in which 100%. So you're sending out 28 tax returns for each individual city." I was like, that was the not fun part of my job. I didn't enjoy that at all. But you did what you did to help everybody. But there's so much stuff that people just don't understand about that life.
Yeah. Because the thing is, like, they only see what the TV shows them. Yeah. That's it. Or with Instagram or with social media. Yeah. That's all they see. Like, they don't know the behind the scenes stuff because they're not invited to that part. Like, they don't get to, they don't get the ins and outs of what happens in football.
That's like everybody's social media. I ain't showing the arguments I have with my wife and kids. I'm just
exactly.
showing the
family
picture
stuff.
Thanksgiving.
Like,
hey, we're a happy family. Look at us.
Right.
So
exactly.
I get it.
So I mean that it's that part that I would give to the people looking in. Yep. Looking out. Like I said, I would say learn, because again, it's like Stray. Don't take it for granted because one, you're here. Right, but it does not last a long time. Like even when, say you have the greatest longevity in the NFL, we would still say that's 12 to 15 years somewhere around there.
That's
somewhere.
That's
right?
A dinosaur in the league anymore.
Right, exactly, dinosaur. Right. So let's make it an even 10. Right, even 10 years. 10. Right. You're 30. You're 30 when you're done.
What you doing?
Right. Yeah. What are you doing? Yeah. Right. So you have to take that space and learn. You have to learn in these spaces of, you making this money, what to do with it. Learn what to do with that, right? Learn about stocks. Learn about real estate. Learn about all of that stuff. Don't just take football as football. Take it as a stepping stone to do other things to set you up, right? Don't look at football as the end all be all, because once again, like when you're 30 and you just stop moving, that money runs out. It does. Because if you're not bringing in income, right, it's going to run out. And it's going to run out quick, because if you're still trying to keep that same NFL lifestyle,
good luck.
Run. Yeah, exactly. You'll run out of money quick, fast, and in a hurry. And again, like, it's just a facade that you're trying to keep because your identity is with football. So again, it's going to run out quick. So I would say learn from the spaces of, I'm in it, but I'm not just in it to play. I'm in it to, one, use this as a stepping stone to set me up later or set my family up for generational wealth, that's the mindset you should have.
Yes,
Yeah.
and coming in the lower draft, making 500, buying the house, the car, the jewelry, and everything else. That ain't the way to go. That ain't going to set nothing up.
No, because you're not. Because again, like
that.
that, all that stuff depreciates.
Yep.
It does. Like all it is you're showing off for the wrong crowd, right?
Yep.
And in that space, you'll put yourself more in harm's way than you would in any great space,
Yep.
right? You wearing all of this jewelry, somebody's more likely to rob you, right? So it's just like we're good, you know.
Yep.
Like just
Yep.
set yourself up for further on, you know, businesses and stuff like that.
Yep.
So that's what I would say to him.
Well, folks, you heard it here from him, the man himself, Super Bowl 42 champ at 21 years old, Jay Alford. Jay, I cannot thank you enough.
Thanks for having me.
Never
Man.
having
Thanks
met
for having
me,
me.
still being willing to come on, have a
Yeah.
smoke, and talk about this.
Nah, it was great.
I
had
really
fun.
appreciate it.
Listen,
and
I'll tell you this. Anytime Jim asks me to do something, I'm there if I can be.
Yeah.
Because he's a great guy, right?
Yes, he is.
Great guy, right? And in any space, he would do anything for me. So, I'll give it to him. Yeah,
I really
100%.
appreciate it. And I know that he has some good thank you gifts for you coming out
Absolutely.
tonight. I
Right.
really appreciate it. And
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough. And I'm really excited to see what's in your next chapter.
I appreciate
And I'll be
that.
damned if you didn't make me just go out and buy some Topps cards tomorrow. What?
Yes,
now, can you
love
tell?
that.
Now,
Yes.
can you tell us exactly what you designed or no?
I
is there
can
anything
actually.
I can go
So
look for?
yeah.
All right,
let's-
so listen up,
let's see.
everybody. You got to go out tomorrow and buy
So-
it. This is Jay Alford design stuff. You got to support him.
So most of the stuff, right? We do Tops Now, right? Tops
Yep.
Now that comes out every day, right? So you can get that every day. Some of the, I guess, the ones that I personally designed it's a WWE living set, right? It's more of like somebody draws the actual card and then I design the outside.
Yeah.
Did that. What else did I do? I did a lot of stuff with. Oh, I gotta go back. Let me go to the
WWE Live. My
Yeah.
kids are into WWE.
Good, right.
We would just watch for like 3 hours because my kids wanted to see Bad Bunny wrestle. I was like,
Right.
"Are you shitting me? Like I have to get the streaming
All
on my
right, so
phone
we're
for
gonna
2.5
go.
hours because Bad Bunny is in a wrestler. Like, come on, man." And now
go.
I have to stop talking shit because Jay designed it.
Right.
So I was like, "Hey, let's go,
Right.
Bad Bunny."
Yeah, but no, I'm let's see. Well, here we go. We can go through it, right? So here's the top 9.
Here, show the
That's
camera
one.
so they can see it.
Oh, here we go. This one, can you see it?
I'll bring it closer.
Okay, bring it closer. All right, those are some of the ones that I designed, all right? And then let's go here. Let's see. I'll show you the WWE ones that I did. Here we go. Here's the WWE living set ones.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Show those to the camera because this gets recorded.
Okay,
and
cool.
it lives there permanently. So I'm
Nice.
going to go back and watch it. And my kids and I are going to now be on a destination
Those
to get
those
these.
come out every Monday. I do a lot of stuff with the WWE. I'm starting to do a lot more things with the what's the soccer league? MLS, right?
MLS,
yeah. So I'm doing a lot more with them. But yeah, I mean, I do basically whatever they come out with. I'm helping. I got a hand in it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a
That
good
is
time.
great. Well, we're going to officially shut this down now, everybody. Thank you so much for taking
Thanks
time
for
to watch
having me.
tonight.
Thanks
Thanks for
for
everybody
having me.
here. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you. And Jay, man, thank you so much, brother.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it so
Absolutely.
much.
Thanks
it was
for
a
having
pleasure to
me.
meet
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody. Till next time. I'll see you.
Night, people.